It was a year and a half ago when a rather incredible group of lay leaders, including our president, John May, and helmed by our board member, Jonathan Crystal, gathered to begin a search process for Central's newest rabbi. In one of our first meetings as a committee, we went around and spoke about the formative rabbis in our lives and what it was about them that created a lasting impact. Each story we heard and each rabbi was unique, but there were some really powerful through lines as well. So armed with those common qualities, with the responsibilities of this role, and with a strong sense of our community and what we're about, we set out to find our rabbi. After a robust search, which included long-tenured rabbis and students coming out of school, our committee uniformly coalesced around Rabbi Rachael Howser. She distinguished herself in many ways throughout this process. She displayed instincts that we trusted, an unmatched work ethic, a grounded maturity, and a deep knowledge of congregational life. Through the process, we witnessed her incredible skills with Jewish texts and prayers, a well-roundedness from experiences in the Reform and conservative and unaffiliated Jewish communities that she served, and a forceful devotion to the Jewish people. Most importantly, she seemed to embody that core of joyful Judaism that typifies Central Synagogue. We believed we had found a singular soul. And Rabbi Howser, over the past 6 months, you have proved and confirmed every facet of what we suspected. So many of us sitting here and online have already been blessed by your extraordinary gifts as a seasoned teacher and a devoted pastor and a soulful prayer leader. Our team already counts on you as a trusted voice because you seem to wrestle together in beautiful tension, qualities that just shouldn't seem to go together in one person. You somehow are both intelligent and deeply spiritual, warm and strong, organized and deeply creative, an old soul and yet somehow also an exuberant soul. You possess wisdom and knowledge and yet always seem open to awe. It's extraordinary. Despite all of that, she's also somehow very humble. Yes, like Moses, she excels even at humility. Rabbi Howser has one major growth area: sarcasm and snark. And even in 6 months, she's made leaps and bounds on that too. Rabbi Howser, on behalf of Central Synagogue, we are so glad we could bring you back to New York City, into our congregation and a part of our community.
All that he said and more. I have the gift of introducing your installer. So it's customary at the installation of a new clergy that person will invite an outside clergy to install them in the congregation. It's kind of like an extra credentialing from the outside by a respected teacher. It's also a way that a new rabbi gets to honor one of their most important teachers. But truly, to have Rabbi Rabbi Kelman with us is to install Rabbi Rachael Howser is a zchut for us. It is truly an honor that you are here with us. Rabbi Rabbi Kelman descends from 10 generations of rabbis. She made Aliyah in 1976 and became the first female rabbi ordained in the land of Israel. She was the dean of the Hebrew Union College, which is the rabbinical cantorial seminary that every single one of your rabbis and cantors attended. So she has shaped many generations of rabbis, including being one of the most important mentors and guides for our newest rabbi, Rachael Howser. She traveled all the way from Israel to be with us tonight. So I want to say thank you. And as she got her Jewish start here in New York City, I also say welcome home and welcome back. Rabbi Kelman is a trailblazer. She is a visionary. She is a rabbi of rabbis. And tonight we want to thank you for installing our Rabbi Rachael Howser as our newest rabbi of Central Synagogue.
Wow. Such an honor, such a joy to be here tonight. So much to celebrate. I want to say Mazel Tov to the B'nai Mitzvah and their families, and of course to the Howser tribe that are here. We're feeling so much nachas, Jewish pride. And I would also add the president of Hebrew Union College, who is here, Professor Andrew Rachael. You should be feeling a lot of nachas too, from all your alumni, past and present. So this Shabbat, we start reading the book of Shemot, known in English as Exodus, but in Hebrew it means names. How ironic that we meet exceptional women, some named and others not. First, the Miyaldot HaIvriot, Shifra and Pua, the Hebrew midwives, who defied the decree of Pharaoh to kill baby boys willing to speak truth to power. Hebrew baby boys. Who are they? Some rabbis of the Midrash teach they are actually Yocheved and Miriam, the mother and sister of Moses. Miriam will be named many chapters later. Now she's also watching over Moses in his basket in the Nile, when another unusual and defiant woman appears, also with no name. She is the daughter of Pharaoh, an Egyptian princess who models compassion, for when she hears the cries of baby Moses, she decides to save him. Our rabbis named Bat Paro, daughter of Paro, Batya, daughter of God. They make her one of us, determining that she went to the Nile to cleanse herself from her father's idolatry, a mikvah, if you will. In our rabbis' interpretations, she too joined the Israelites. Miriam is named and called a prophet, Miriam HaNevi'ah, as she leads the Israelite women out of Egypt in song and dance. Miriam, our first dancer, probably made it in musical theater. Why else would the women join her with their timbrels and dance as they left slavery, following Miriam, not afraid of the powerful and protective of the vulnerable? Rabbi Rachael, Rachael Yocheved, Miriam has long been an inspiration for you. You encountered her in your vision for yourself as a Jew, and you didn't quite know yet how to get there. You chose the name Yocheved, the mother of Miriam, as a model of bringing forth life. Miriam is overflowing, effervescent, a life force of optimism and hope. Miriam, the midwife, who helps bring new life. Rachel, you share so many of these qualities with Miriam. You too imagine and bring forth the new when you lead prayer, create rituals of hope and healing, and speak and act in a prophetic voice. Miriam HaNevi'ah. I call Miriam Marat Hayam, mistress of the waters. As a midwife, she was well experienced with Mei Shafir, the amniotic fluid, and then the Nile, and then the Red Sea. And finally, when she dies, suddenly the Israelites are without water. The rabbinic commentators surmise that she was the ongoing source of water in the wilderness. They imagine her own traveling, overflowing well that gave waters of sustenance and even vegetation to the Israelites as they wandered. Miriam was the source of life and quenching of thirst in the wilderness. I too was never taught much about Miriam. Many years ago, or not too many years ago, Jewish feminists reclaimed her by adding Miriam's cup to the Passover Seder table and filled it with water. And more important, Jewish feminists reclaimed our role as religious leaders, not just a place at the table, the head of the table. And that is how you, Rabbi Rachael, stand here on this bima today. Miriam's well traveled in the wilderness, and it traveled in time. Now we are traveling back, way back, to the days of creation. According to Pirkei Avot, a first-century text, the well was created right before the very first Shabbat, along with other miraculous and mysterious things, the rainbow, the manna, Bilam's talking donkey, and more. Things we cannot explain, but will appear in biblical stories. They were actually God's last gifts at creation. But imagine, because that's just what our rabbis did, Hagar, the banished handmaiden, the other that Abraham takes to procreate, and Ishmael is born. Hagar means stranger. All alone, Hagar HaMitzrit, Hagar the Egyptian, or Hagar who is in a narrow, scary place. Meitzar, Hagar despaired, set Ishmael under the bushes and wept. Then God opens Hagar's eyes to see a source of water, to survive, to go on living. Hagar, as it says in Genesis, opened her eyes and saw a well. According to another midrash, Pirkei de Rabbi Eliezer, this well was actually Miriam's well. The one created hours before the very first Shabbat first appeared to Hagar, the stranger, the other, to provide nourishment and promise. We despair. We have been in too many narrow places recently. We need to simply look up and see the ever-flowing well of possibility. Rabbi Rachael, your compassion, your optimism, your deep faith reaches across the Nile, across the aisle. Be that wellspring. Raise your timbrel when all around you is chaos, fear, and despair. Rachael Yocheved, this is so you. You bring your love of life to everything. When I asked you what you love about your role, you said, funerals are my favorite. She did. Because I help with the painful transition and get to hear about people the mourners love. You are there supporting, teaching, healing, celebrating people at their crossings. As Rabbi Angela said so eloquently in her book, we must be Ivrim, boundary crossers. Rachael, our foremother, our suffering beauty, married to Jacob, refused to submit to neat categories. We also meet her at a well. Ki ro'ahi, she is a shepherd, another quality of leadership, the one who leads her flock. Could we imagine that it might have been Miriam's well, making another guest appearance to change the course of our destiny? It will be our matriarch Rachel's descendants, the daughters of Slavchad from her son Joseph, and Queen Esther from Benjamin, who redeem us and guarantee our survival. These women are your source, our source of strength, courage, and justice. I met Rachael Howser on Zoom during COVID. After she escaped New York to move back home to a suburb of Pittsburgh, as a first-year rabbinic student, she would have come to Israel, but the program moved to Zoom. What a crazy, uncertain time, and yet we got through. Rachel's parents, Mark and Diane, could not have been more supportive of her conversion and her choice of calling. In fact, and only in America, that year at Christmas, they had placed a gift of tefillin under the tree. Talk about courageous border crossing. Thank you. Rabbi Rachael, Rav Rachael Yocheved, you now join the legacy of redemptive love that so many of our women exemplified. May you continue to lead, support, dazzle, comfort, recharge, rebel, and renew in the spirit of our foremothers, adding your own unique Torah. Keep dancing and delighting with Miriam ahead and her nourishing well ever present. B'hatzlacha.
There's a certain poetry to this week's Torah portion, Shemot, being read at my installation. It's the portion I wrote about for my entrance essay to rabbinical school in 2019. As Rabbi Kelman detailed, Shemot begins with a web of women through whose interconnected efforts Moses' life is spared. Shifra and Puah, wily midwives who sidestep Pharaoh's murderous decree against the Hebrew babies. Yocheved, who puts her faith in God to save her newborn son. Miriam, his watchful sister. Pharaoh's daughter, who defies her father's hatred in choosing to love and raise Moses. Shemot, to me, is what Judaism is all about. In times of despair, Jews look to our most vulnerable and we act on their behalf, perhaps never even knowing how vast the network of support is. Yocheved might not be aware of the midwives who enable the Hebrew women to keep giving birth to sons, nor does she know who will pick Moses up out of his basket once she sets him adrift. But she acts, and the midwives act, and Miriam acts. And Pharaoh's daughter acts, and it is through their combined actions that a leader who will bring the Hebrews out of bondage in Egypt is saved. I am not Moses, but like him, I know a thing or two about the support of others pushing me where I need to be. Most of us can point to a web of people whose strength and sustaining efforts enabled us to be where we are today. I would not be here before you on this bima without my family, who have been in my corner throughout my conversion to Judaism and my education in rabbinical school. I also want to recognize with gratitude dear friends who, from a young age, introduced me to Judaism through rituals and holidays that are now the bedrock of my life, especially the Thaw family. I thank my excellent professors and classmates at Hebrew Union College in Cincinnati, whose teachings will guide me for the rest of my life. I owe a very great debt of gratitude, in particular to my mentor and friend, Rabbi Kelman, who from the very first year of rabbinical school bolstered my spirits and helped me believe that this is work I was born for and capable of doing. I'm so grateful that you could be here today to install me. And finally, I must thank my new colleagues at Central Synagogue. I pinch myself daily to see if I've dreamed up my good fortune at working at a place like this. So beautiful, so forward-thinking, so giving, and staffed by sages and experts in their fields. But at this point, if this is a dream, I don't want to wake up. To work under the leadership of Rabbi Angela Buchdahl is an honor that I endeavor daily to deserve. And to have Rabbi Ari Lord as my mentor and friend makes me pretty much the luckiest rabbi on the planet. I extend my thanks to Rabbis Salth, Berman, Haber, Mandel, Rosenthal, Rotholtz, and Rubin, and cantors Mutlu and Pearsall. Thank you all for welcoming me so warmly and making me feel like part of the team. My gratitude goes out to our incomparable executive director, Marcia Caban, and my esteemed colleague, Dr. Shira Epstein, and our Rabbi Emeritus, Peter J. Rubenstein. And I also wanted to shout out our Cantor Emeritus, Dick Botten, whom I know is tuning in tonight. And special thanks to our lay leadership, in particular our President John May, who leads us with such passion. And finally, I am tremendously grateful to Jonathan Crystal, the chair of my search committee, and the entire search committee itself, which made my dream come true a year ago when they chose me as the newest rabbi at Central. And finally, to congregants and friends here tonight, I promise you with my entire heart that I will work tirelessly to serve you with joy. In Parshat Shemot, we see how small, interconnected acts of courage and kindness prove the foundation of huge changes. I look forward to witnessing and being part of these acts that move us forward here at Central, where everyone is so invested in our Jewish future. Judaism is, at its best, a community, a congregation whose web of support and strength carries us to a better place. It is my privilege to be part of that here with all of you. Thank you.